Okay, so to make a stencil letter, you're gonna pick at least 2 letters that have openings in them. So by openings, I mean, there's like a little hole in it, like in the letter A, there's a little hole, or in B, there's little holes in them, right? So there's a loop. So you need to come up with a word that has at least 2 letters. Pick 2 different ones, okay? So in mine, I have 3 actually. So the word boat, the B has holes in the letter, the O has a hole in the letter, and the A has a hole in the letter. The T does not. You can use any other 2 letters unless you decide to pick 3. So it should be at least 4 letters, and at least 2 should have a hole. So you don't have to make your letters perfect. I just want you to see how the process works. So make it kind of big, as if you were making it for a shirt. So what I like to do is I like to make the letter first, really lightly, and then what I do is I trace around the outsides of that. So here is my B. So I'm going to trace the hole after. It's not very neat, but it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just practicing. So then I trace the outside of that little outline, or the letter that I did. So I'm going to go around. And now I have the B, and I can just erase my light line on the inside. All right. And you're going to do that for all of the letters. So the O is easy. I don't really need to trace that. So I'm just going to make the outside of it and then the inside. And then the A, I'm just going to go ahead and draw them. And a T. It's not very centered, but it's okay. So for my T, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to hold on the little parts in the middle. So when I color it, it's just going to be colored in as one piece. So when I cut that out, I don't have anything that's going to fall out. But when I cut out my B, if I cut out the B and then I cut out these center pieces, then these 2 little pieces will be loose and they could get lost, right? And when I tape it to my screen, they need to be hanging onto the letter. So the way that works is you have to make some kind of little connection, okay? I'll do the O first because that's really the easiest way to show you. So you might have seen some stencils or stencil kinds of lettering. You can either make it up here or you can make it up here. So I'm gonna put the connectors, I'm just gonna put like a little connector, and this is like a little bridge that's gonna hold this O together. So now I'm gonna erase this little bit right here. And now my O has become 2 pieces, but they're solid pieces that aren't going to fall out. Like the little center piece isn't going to fall out and get loose. So now I know that this is the part that I'm going to color in. So that's the part. So when I put this on my screen, then it's going to be held together by these 2 little anchors. Okay? So now you know that this white part is actually the paper. And you know what? I think I'm just going to cut it out really quickly so you can see that. You don't have to cut it out. I just want you to show me the anchor. I'm just going to cut it right on my desk. So if I cut out my B, for example, I'm just going to show you. I don't want you to cut it out. But if I cut out my letter B, what happens is I have my B, right? And then there's just this empty space, right? And I don't have the 2 things. And if I cut these out, they're not gonna be held in, right? So I could put it back in, but it's not held on by anything, right? So it's just loose. So that's what these little parts are right here, those connectors. So now that I have the connector, when I cut out the space for my O, what happens is I have a little thing that holds it together. And then when I pull this piece out, I didn't cut very, I'm not on a cutting mat, so. All right, so when I pull that piece out, you can see there'll be two pieces, and then this will stay. Okay, so if I'll just cut that out. And then you can start yours. But you don't have to do this cutting. I'm just doing the cutting so I can show you why. The reason why. And this knife is not cutting very well on my desk. I probably should have put a cutting mat under here. So now you can see how the letters are? This O, this little piece right here is held on by these two little connectors, okay? And you would do the same thing for the A, so you would probably put a little connector on the A, like you got this little piece right here, so you could connect it either like on the side or up at the top. Like you could make that letter like this, right? And then you could make a little connector here and here, or you could do it on either side. It's your choice. You only need to do one, not two, so I kind of like the little sideways ones. So that would be my connector. So when you do your drawing, draw it lightly and then make sure that you really know where your connector is. So this is where my connector is, on the A, okay? Not this one. All right, so that's how you do it. So you don't want to leave them floating out in the air because then they're just going to get lost, okay? So when you cut them out, you need to make sure that there's a connector to hold the piece on. And that's the process.